Welcome to the Brand Success Podcast, where you'll hear amazing stories from people like you who overcame their fears, frustrations, and obstacles on their way to brand success. Join us to be inspired by how they persevered, pivoted, and powered on to success. Not easy, but they did it, and so can you.
Welcome, my friends, to another session on brand success. Today, I'm very excited because we have with us Danielle Ralston. Now, Danielle Ralston has a brand that is very intriguing, and she has a story for us about her brand and her life as an entrepreneur and in building a successful brand. So, Danielle, why don't you take it away?
Again, I'm Danielle Ralston from Be Boss Girl, and Be Boss Girl is all together, but girl is in lowercase letters. I know a lot of women are offended by being called girl, but the whole entire brand is teaching women to be empowered and be the boss of their business without having the hack it until you make it syndrome that goes for a lot of women entrepreneurs. And we started this brand, and this brand was come up with in a period of 24 hours. I lost my day job. I needed to replace my income, had been coaching and working with some male brands and a few female brands on how to start their businesses. I'd been doing this a long time in the IT world, and Be Boss Girl was born. And like I said, a little less than 24 hours. And the whole entire brand is around getting women to be encouraged and to stand on their own 2 feet and rise strong in their business, become limitless in how they're doing everything. Mindset is a huge part of owning a business, especially as a woman. It's not something that a lot of men deal with, but we as women always really deal with that. And they go hand in hand with running a strong and confident business. So I discovered quickly that women really needed that extra hand of the mindset to go with the entrepreneurship and go with the strategy. I am a strategist at heart. I was an IT pro for 20-something years. So that mathematical, strategic way of doing everything is very much in my blood. But I learned that didn't always work for women because they really needed the encouragement and the mindset to go with everything. It took me a little bit to get my feet under me because it was a big challenge to switch that thinking from that very masculine world way of thinking of starting a business and just moving ahead because there's a formula that goes with this to bringing in some compassion and mindset to go with that. And that was actually really a challenge for me to get to that point of understanding that when marketing to women. So it took me probably about a year to really understand how to market to a woman correctly with that. And again, I've been doing small business for 25 plus years, either working for somebody else in small business world or working for myself. I started one of my first businesses when my son was just a baby because I wanted to be home with him. I did the whole mom thing. I think I've sold Tupperware and Mary Kay and pretty much every other little thing I could think of. I actually had a home bakery for a while and a sewing business that I did. And I wanted to be home with my son. So that's where that was. And I was very young when my son was born. I was only 21. But I knew that there was something I didn't want to go back to the corporate world, and I never have. I'm now in my 40s, and I've never walked back into the corporate world, and I love that. I've stepped back in as a consultant, but never as a full-time employee again. And owning my own business, the journey has been huge for me. And being a woman-owned business has been, especially these last 3 years as Be Boss Girl has really stepped into her own world and on our own journey, that this journey has taken me through a lot of things. And now I get to work with women every single morning and the coaching them through the mindset that goes with owning a business. The biggest thing I would characterize my brand in being is an empowerment strategy-based business. I talk about and being empowered and knowing who your brand is. I talk about 5 W's and an H in knowing the who, what, where, when, why, and how of your business is so essential to everything else you're going to build your business on.
Right.
Without that, you're not going to build a strong business. And I talk a lot about DIYing. So many women, and I don't know why this is such a prevalent thing in women-owned businesses, is DIYing. And you DIY when you don't have the money or the ability to do things correctly. DIY is not something that you do when you know what you're doing, because it's not DIY. That's an expert doing something then. and getting beyond that mindset of DIYing and having to DIY everything. Why that's a thing, I don't know. And the hack it until you make it, I say that a lot, has been a big deal for me to help women step beyond that and become limitless in the things that they can do in their business. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do everything in your business. You've got to hire an expert at times. I have experts that do things for me because I can't do it all. I don't do my own marketing, even though I own a marketing strategy business, because I can't do my own marketing. I had to hire somebody to do that for me. And that's part of building your own brand, is knowing what you're good at and excelling and staying on that zone of where you are amazing and bringing in the other pieces that you need to bring everything else out into the world so that they can see how amazing you are. Just because you're amazing at making quilts doesn't mean you're going to be great at marketing your quilts, but somebody else could be and take you to a whole next level so that you can scale your business and move in the direction you want to. I really, in the characterization of my brand being the empowerment that it is, the things that you want to do to build your brand, build on that empowerment. One, be confident in who you are and what you do. If you aren't confident in who you are and what you do, why should anybody else buy from you?
Right.
And that comes from years of not being confident in who I was and what I was doing. But the minute you're confident, people will flock to you and come to you. Knowing your brand strategy, your 5 W's and an H, that is such a huge piece. When you nail that down, your client knows who you are, you know who you are, and you know what you're doing. And there's no waffling from that. And there's no, ooh, look, shiny, I'm going to go in this other direction, because you know who you are and your clients know who you are. The next thing I would say, the biggest thing is self-care. As a female business owner, we burn ourselves out. I see so many women burn themselves out, and remembering to step back and not be everything to everybody at all times is a fault that we all have as women. We want to take care of everybody and we forget to take care of ourselves. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, our business starts to fail around us and we get burnt out on it. And we don't want to continue. I see so many women that get burnt out and just don't want to continue because they haven't taken that time to also take care of themselves and all the craziness of being an entrepreneur. Because it is crazy. We all know it. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
Something I wish I would have done differently is I think I wished I would have spent more time really diving in and taking a look at what women needed when they started their business. I wish I would have started where I am right now, and I would have started with this instead of trying to get women to fit into a mold that I think they should fit in, and trying to fit small businesses into the corporate mold. And that doesn't work in a lot of ways. I mean, there are a lot of things about corporate world that you do want to follow as a small business, but that doesn't always work. And I wished I would have known that to start, because I would have been a heck of a lot less stress when I was first starting out. If I would have taken the time on my own brand strategy and known that to start. I think the biggest lesson I learned was to stop and listen. I'm ADHD to about the nth degree, and learning to stop and listen to what my ideal client wants made a huge shift in my business. And I have now gotten to work with 500 women and owning their businesses. Wow. And I love what I do every day. And even we were talking, Kate and I were talking a little bit ahead of time. I had a disaster last week. And even in the huge disaster of the week I still love what I do each and every day. And that is, loving what you do is such an important part of being able to do this a long time.
Right.
And being able to scale yourself. Because if you don't love what you do, being able to scale your business is not going to happen very well.
Right. Yeah. So you have been through a lot of different kinds of businesses, service businesses, and a couple product businesses in there. And in doing the work that you're doing now with Be Boss Girl, I think probably what you see, and I just want to get some advice from you for our friends who are listening. You mentioned briefly about like ADHD and shiny object syndrome and not being focused and that kind of thing. Do you have any words of wisdom or advice in how to tame that beast, because so many entrepreneurs that I see, and I'm sure that you see too, that is a really difficult and sometimes disastrous way to operate.
Very much so. I see so many businesses do that, and then you see they're gone in 6
Right.
months or a year. They don't withstand the test of time. I would say one of the biggest things that I learned, and I was diagnosed with ADHD as a child, so I have been like this my whole life. One of the biggest things I learned is a planning strategy. Don't get a planner. A planner is not going to get you organized for nothing. That's not what it's for.
Okay.
A planner is for the final pretty plan. That's where the final pretty piece goes. It's not meant for the planning out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Again, knowing your who, what, where, when, why, and how helps define who you are as a business, who your ideal client is, so that you have that in front of you. It's there so you know that what you're doing is following that path.
Right.
And then taking the time to really plan. In a planning strategy, I have a phrase that I say to all my clients: plan your plan, to better evaluate your plan, to better prioritize your plan, so your plan is well planned. Plan is in there 6 times. There are 6 strategic steps, and it's murder for an ADHD person at first to do that.
Yeah.
Mine starts as a handwritten crazy. I won't show you my desk. I'll just pick some up. I have Post-it notes everywhere. Then I take these Post-it notes and I have a huge whiteboard that I then prioritize and evaluate what really needs to be on here, what's for a later date, what can be put off as an idea for 10 years from now, what needs to be done now. And then I prioritize it and I literally shift things around and I color code things. And then they go onto my calendar and I time block myself. And I have a task management software that I use. I use Amazing Marvin, which is very clean, very simple to organize my daily tasks. Then I have Trello boards, and I use something called Jumple as my project management to organize.
What is your project?
Jumple? Jumppl.
I don't think I
it
know
is
that
a
one.
new project management / CRM for marketing businesses.
Oh, good.
And they are very new. They are still in beta stage. Because I come from the IT world, when there's new software to test, that is a shiny object. But I was trying to find something that brought in my marketing pieces along with my project management that I need. And it fits both of those. Instead of having 4 different things, I've got everything all in one ball now. And it does take multiple steps. It takes me about 2 hours a week to plan for my week. But when I do that, when it's time to do something, I'm doing it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not worrying that I'm doing something out of the right order. I'm not waffling on, well, maybe I don't need to do that today at all. I know what needs to be done, when it needs to be done by, and how to do it. Because anything that's more than one step, I write down all the steps that have to be done for it as well in my planning time. But that keeps me on track. At one point, I was running 6 businesses. And because of that system, you can do an incredible amount and organize an incredible amount of data and work and get it all done and be super efficient when your planning time is for all the planning and your doing time is for all the doing.
Right. And do you do that at the beginning of the week or at the end of the week for the next week?
I always do it at the end of the week for the next week because my brain is on I didn't get this done this week. Oh, I need to do that. So I'm already in that mindset. And when I'm going to plan, I actually take a 20-minute break, half-hour break from everything else that I've had to do, sit down, do some breathing exercises, and I think about, okay, next week, I want next week to be successful, and this is my major goal for the week. And then I base everything else that I write down for all of the things that I need to do on the major goal for the week. And where do I want to be that following Friday? And then I plan my whole entire week around that. And then I don't have to worry about it for the weekend because everything's already written down. It's all done. My weekend is for me so that I can rest and relax. I never do. I'm always working on something because that's where my brain is going. But I don't have to think about that. And I have a list for my weekend work. I have my idea list. And that's what I work on my weekends.
Okay.
I don't work on client work on the weekends unless some disaster has happened and prevented me from doing it during the week. The weekends is for the fun stuff. And that's part of my self-care for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned self-care as part of not burning out and being able to run a healthy business and a healthy life. So what kinds of things do you do for self-care?
For me, I love to work. I'm a huge movie buff. I'm a movie geek. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, as geeky as you can get. That's where I am. Always have been, always will be. And yes, it's okay to be a girl and be geeky. It's perfectly fine. Yes. So I watch a lot of movies, but I don't watch TV shows. I'm dyslexic, so reading books is not something I do for enjoyment. But creating some new content for my business, creating a new membership program, creating for me is very energizing. And it's something I love to do. Again, I have a list specifically for the weekend of fun things to do.
Okay.
And my husband and I are both in bands and do have a sound business that we run. So we do sound for cover bands. So that's something else I do. Music is very much part of my life. And that's another part of things I do. Even though it's working, it's relaxation. Again, I am ADHD. I need to be moving all the time. If I'm not moving, I fall asleep. And I hate that. So I'm either on or I'm off. There's no in between.
Right.
I'd rather be creating and doing something beneficial for my business or something than just sitting doing nothing. I will go get my nails done. But things like that, that's about the limit of me sitting still.
I'm surprised you can sit still and get your nails done.
Not really. I think I annoy my nail person a lot. So, because she's always pulling my hand back. So.
Yeah. So you were in the corporate world at one time. And there's a lot of things that happen in the corporate world that are hard on you. I don't mean you specifically, but on people. What advice would you give to someone who is in the corporate world who would want to be you, who would want to be sitting in your chair, who would want to have the success that you have? What would you say to them?
The biggest thing you need to do is you need to plan for it. If you are looking to exit the corporate world and work for yourself, be an entrepreneur, be a consultant, whatever it is you're going to do, you need to plan for it. And when you start that process, your day job becomes your venture capitalist. It's your investment in your dream of whatever that is, which really, when you think about it that way, that shifts the mindset of being frustrated and overwhelmed and having a lot of anxiety of going to work. I actually coach women who are looking to get out of the corporate world. And when I say to them, but your day job is your investment in your future. It's not what you have to do to pay your bills. It's what you're doing to invest in what your dream is. There tends to be a shift in mindset of, oh, I could go do this because when I'm on lunch break, I can do this.
Right.
And really plan. And that planning strategies that I mentioned become even more so important. You really need to have a very strategic way of doing everything that you want to do for your business, especially if you're going to have a side hustle for a little while you're still working and getting that side hustle moving forward. If you have planned everything out really well, you can use your lunch breaks and your evenings and your weekends very efficiently, get that much more done. And one big thing would be don't try to DIY it yourself because that's going to keep you in your day job even longer. You're in a day job. You can afford to pay somebody to get your website done, to get the marketing and sales copy written for you. And even if this month you can afford one thing, next month is the next thing. But if you have that strategy down, you are going to get so much further ahead, so much more quickly than for some reason, a lot of women businesses want to DIY it. And then they get stuck in that DIY trying to hack it together, but don't actually get to the point of launching. I read a statistic about 6 months ago. The average woman spends over 100,000 hours DIYing things in her business over the course of a 3-year trying to start her business. 3 years of trying to start her business. That doesn't mean starting her business. Now, take a look at what it takes to be an expert. It takes 10,000 hours to be an expert in one item. If you took 10,000 hours to be an expert in one item and hired everybody else to do the things that they're already experts at, where would your business be?
Much better. Right.
I couldn't believe that statistic. I'm like, I didn't read that right. And I had to actually read it written out. And I'm like, no, I did read that right.
Yeah.
100,000 hours. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep.
I'm not starting a business.
So Danielle, how can people reach you? How can people engage with you? Do you have anything you want to give them? Do you want people to reach out to you?
So there are multiple ways to get to me. My website is not live right now, but it will be by Friday.
Okay.
But you can reach me at bebossgirl.com. You can schedule a free 30-minute session with me right there. Once the website is up, or if you want to message me on Facebook, you can sign up for daily tips. I send out daily email, mindset, marketing, and social media tips right to your inbox. There's no obligation for anything else. And again, message me right on Facebook. You can find me at Be Boss Girl. That is my Facebook page. I'm Danielle Ralston, obviously online. And I have some really cool things coming. So just watch for the website. Will be, like I said, live on Friday. My website got put to the bottom of the list. My team does all of this. And my website got put to the bottom of the list. So I'm still not done into the new year. But Be Boss Girl. I'm at Be Boss Girl everywhere. So you can find me everywhere. I have a morning show you can join every day for free coaching. Cool. Ask questions during my live show. Ask me what you need, and I'm there to support.
Wonderful. And since this will probably not go on the air until a couple of weeks, I'm sure
website will be live.
Your website will be just fantastic.
Barring any disasters. It's a website. You never know.
It'll be great. It'll be great. Danielle, I have enjoyed speaking with you today. I love Be Boss Girl. I love what you've done. And I am amazed at the amount of women that you've been able to work with and help. And I'm sure that they are grateful, very, very grateful for your insight and your wisdom.
Thank you.
Any parting words?
Just remember to, and I have a tagline that I end every show with, remember to rise strong, become limitless, and be the boss girl. Not girl, don't be a girl, be the boss girl of your business every day. And bossing up sometimes doesn't mean doing it all yourself.
Okay, she said it. She's right. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for being here today. And that's a wrap.
You just heard another great formula for brand success. What's your secret sauce or magic formula? Post your story on our Facebook page called Brand Buzz. Then come back soon for the next brand success story that's cooking up right now.